Saw a story on the wire the other day, and I had to check it out because it sounded so strange. It said the gender police want to abolish Valentine's Day. The American Gender Society, the United States' premier watchdog group on matters of sexual correctness, has called for the immediate and permanent cancellation of Valentine's Day. The move is part of the group's larger plan to bring America to complete celibacy by the year 2000. Christopher Cerf, now there's the name that rang the bell. The Society's chairperson says the Society has come to the conclusion that the only politically correct sexual behavior is no sexual behavior whatsoever. Christopher, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. I thought this was really some kind of a I thought this was some kind of a wacky organization at first, and then I realized it's a wacky organization, isn't it?
Well, some people have accused us of that, but we're just reporting. I mean, we didn't have this idea ourselves. The point is that political correctness has now reached the point where we have been unable to identify any type of sexual behavior that is not offensive to at least somebody, and that's our job to report. So don't kill the messenger. And I shouldn't say kill; we should say terminally inconvenienced or metabolically different, but certainly not dead.
Metabolically what?
Metabolically different. We don't say dead anymore because that offends the dead.
Oh yeah.
That.
Yes, and we don't throw rocks, we throw mineral companions, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I remember this, and of course if you're in prison, you're not a prisoner anymore.
No, you're a client of the correctional system, or a guest of the correctional system.
I do recall this. We've talked before.
We have indeed.
Back in 1993, I believe, your politically correct handbook came out, right?
Right, and now we've followed this up with a sexually correct book, or really shouldn't say book either, because environmentalists get offended if you don't remind people about the trees being cut down. So we say a processed tree carcass instead.
Is it okay to say sex?
I think it's okay to say it, as long as you don't do it. We originally set out to do, a book of dating do's and don'ts for the 90s, but Henry and I, my colleague Henry Beard and I, soon realized there were no dating do's anymore, so it's dating don'ts and don'ts, actually.
Yeah, do you really call Valentine's Day a heinous vestige for male oppression masquerading as a harmless holiday?
We're just quoting other people who said that, but a lot of people now feel that July 20th, which is the feast day of Saint Uncumber, would be a better day to celebrate than Valentine's Day. As you may or may not know, Saint Uncumber is the patron saint of women ridding themselves of male encumbrances. And we think that might be a more appropriate thing to celebrate, seeing the mood of the country these days.
Yes. You are almost afraid to say anything, aren't you? For fear of being taken the wrong way.
Well, that's right. We recommend not just gender-free speech and cruelty-free speech and bias-free speech, but actually content-free speech. Then no one would be offended at all.
And all you have to do is turn to Washington to find out about that.
Well, that's true. They're very good at it down there.
Yes. So it's not really what you say, it's what you meant to say that we ought to really consider.
Well, that's what I would have thought. I mean, that would be common sense, but that intent might have something to do with all this. But you probably know about the Antioch rules now at Antioch College, where you have to get consent to do anything. For example, if I wanted to put my hand on a woman's cheek or something, I would say, may I kindly have your permission to do that? And the trouble is that the feminist scholar Catherine McKinnon has said that to say it is to do it, so that even asking might be sexual harassment now.
And to think it probably is to say it.
Well, that's conceptual assault, yes. If you want to have a fantasy about someone, you better call up and get their permission first. Otherwise, you're guilty of conceptual assault.
But then if you call them, then you're irritating them because you're infringing on their space or their time.
Well, that's exactly right. So that's why we come back to just don't even think about it.
Valentine's Day should be abolished, according to some, and of course you're just a messenger, and it's not your idea.
Well, absolutely right. But, there have been specific complaints about it. That there's a woman named Nancy Henley who's written a book about handshakes even not being right, because they're an institution of male clubbiness that you're kind of inflicting on women. And there's a Hunter College professor who says that giving candy makes a woman, or renders a woman, obliged and submissive. So again, it's wrong for the women to take it, even if the guys are dumb enough to try to give it to her. And I shouldn't have said dumb, I should have said cerebrally different.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't want to be offended here.
No.
How about sending a Valentine? Is that appropriate, or are we?
As long as you know it's welcome, it's okay. But how do you know it's welcome? That's why we're so cautious about these things.
Could you put some kind of a warning on the outside saying that this package contains a message that may not be suited for you? Or
that's absolutely a wonderful idea. That's a wonderful idea. I hadn't thought of that. Of course, that doesn't mean that if you open it and are offended, that you still couldn't sue the person.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we're recommending that a sexually correct dictionary is the only appropriate Valentine's Day gift. Of course, this is not meant to be self-serving in any way.
Of course not.
But it could help a guy from getting sued, or it could help a woman from unknowingly allowing herself to be harassed.
Yeah. By the way, you're not harassed by the fact that I called you this morning, I hope.
Absolutely not. No, this was a welcome phone call.
Because we are both of the male gender anyway.
Well, we're genetically oppressive, according to the Berkeley School of Rhetoric, and I think that's a good term for us.
You know, this is if it weren't so true, it's almost funny. In fact, it is pretty funny.
Well, we hope it's funny. Otherwise, we're doing the wrong thing.
I was going to tell you, if everybody's supposed to mind their own business and not get involved with anybody else, you better sell your books while you can, because the next generations will find that they won't have any money to spend. In fact, they won't even have a next generation, maybe.
Well, next generation is hard, but luckily we have in vitro sex now. You know, sex is really not necessary because of all these wonderful advances. Though I should warn you that there is such a thing as in vitro harassment. You know,
in vitro harassment?
Yes, if you have an egg being fertilized, an egg cell being fertilized in a petri glass there, and someone looks at it and says, "What a dish!" That would be harassment. Vitro harassment.
Whereas if you said, "What a petri container" or something, then that might be okay, huh?
Well, you could say, "What a container," but the dish might not like that either.
You got to be careful in fruit stands too, then, because you don't want to say, "Man, what a cute tomato."
No, you don't. No, you don't.
That could get you.
That offends a lot of people. There's several articles about the personification of women or comparing women to animals or vegetables. It's a definite no-no.
Okay.
And
even though you wouldn't mean
it's called objectification, by the way. There are terms for all these things.
Objectification?
Yes, but you know, there's a man named Warren Farrell who says that men have been objectified too. That we're success objects. That we were forced against our will to have all the power and rule the country, and we're dying younger than women, or rather we're becoming terminally inconvenienced younger than women. So he thinks that men are more oppressed than women in this society. So I think we need to have more oppressed than you contests, you know, and see who wins.
Yes. Well, you know, if I really wanted to learn more about this, Chris, how could I really do this? You say you've written a book. Are you afraid to put it on the bookstore shelves, or is it?
No, I think that this book is necessary. As I say, Henry and Beard and I have done it as a public service only. If we happen to make a little money, so be it. But we really feel that it's important that that people know all these things so that they don't accidentally commit sexual harassment or worse, or erase their own gender by mistake.
Yeah. This seems to me to be carrying the rules of etiquette to the extreme.
Well, it's just that the times have changed. These are the be sensitive or else 90s. You know?
Emily Post was kind of a renegade, I suppose, or maybe you might call her kind of like an Attila of etiquette. But you're refining it much more than she ever thought of, I guess.
I think so. Well, the old etiquette books certainly don't apply anymore, and things like Masters and Johnson or Sheer Height, those books are completely out of date because they assumed that certain sexual behavior was okay, and it just isn't anymore. Okay. Yeah.
Masters is okay by itself, and Johnson and Johnson's okay by itself. But Masters
you can't say anyway because that's a word that is patriarchal in nature. Misters and Johnson, M-S-T-E-R-S, would probably be more gender fair.
Okay. When you take all this stuff into account, it must have taken you years to put this book together because you have to be very, very careful and scrutinize everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. But we, as you said at the beginning, we've read through incredible numbers of college rules and office sexual harassment policies and things. And we didn't make any of this up. Nobody believes it, but it's true.
This is all based on real stuff, huh?
It absolutely is. It's an alphabetical thing. Of course, a lot of the rules are contradictory. That's one of the really amazing things. For example, there's a rule at the University of Toronto against professors making excessive eye contact with female students, and a man was actually prosecuted for that. But at Barnard College in New York, there's a policy that professors have to make sufficient eye contact with women students. They claim that it's harassment if you look your male students right in the eye, but you don't look at women right in the eye because you don't take them seriously.
Yeah, how about if you're an optometrist? Would it be okay then?
I think so, but you probably better blink a lot. If you stare at them directly but blink a lot, then you will be there won't be insufficient eye contact or excessive eye contact.
Okay. We don't want to get anybody upset here needlessly, and that's the purpose of this whole thing. Christopher Cerf, by the way, is the son of Bennett Cerf, and you may recall him on shows like What's My Line?
Absolutely.
Yes, and so I think some of the old pop has rubbed off on the kid here.
Well, I hope so. He was a great guy.
It was funny. And you are, too. That's great. The first book out was called The Politically Correct Handbook, as I recall?
It was the official politically correct dictionary and handbook.
Okay.
And this is the official sexually correct dictionary and dating guide, though, as I pointed out, it's only dating don'ts and don'ts because there are no dating do's.
And this is published by what particular company?
It's published by Villard Books.
Okay, and you should be able to find it out in the bookstores just in time for Valentine's Day, I would hope.
Isn't that a remarkable coincidence? We didn't plan it that way. It just
I'm sure you didn't.
Valentine's Day fell on the same day as our publication.
Yes, what a coincidence.
It's just amazing.
And I would hope that you would sell these books before Valentine's Day is abolished, because after that, hey, who's going to need it?
Well, that's what we're hoping for. If our book or processed tree carcass, as I said, is properly successful, there will be no need for Valentine's Day or our book or for the American Gender Society.
That's your real goal, isn't it? To put yourself out of business.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, I understand. Christopher, thank you for being with us this morning.
Well, thank you.
Good luck with it.
Thanks a lot.
God knows we need it.
The goddess knows, you mean?
Or yes, the deity knows.
Yeah, right.
that we need it. All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.